As time went on, people started to worship many gods and many idols instead of the one God that Adam and Idris had followed. The human population grew and there was much corruption. God decided to introduce a system of law, so he chose a righteous and pious person called Nūḥ for the task. Nūḥ lived for about 2,500 years, while others would only live 300 years. He lived in modern-day Kufa and was a carpenter by trade. During this time, he witnessed the moral corruption of the people around him, yet he held fast to the religion of his forefathers Idris and Adam and continued to worship the one God. Nūḥ was to be the first of an elite group of 5, known as Ulul prophets. They carried the responsibility of establishing laws for all of humanity, providing the foundation upon which all other systems would be built. Nūḥ began to call his people and told them that he was the messenger of God. He urged his people to abandon their worship of idols and worship the one God alone. He warned them of the punishment that awaited those who persisted in idolatry. Only a few people supported Nūḥ, while the majority blocked their ears and harmed him in many ways. 300 years had passed since Nūḥ began his mission, and still, he did not have many followers and people were still harming him. Once, they beat him so severely that he lay unconscious for 3 days with blood flowing from his ears. When he recovered, he decided to pray to God for their destruction. Just as he was about to ask, he was approached by an army of angels from the lowest level of the sky. They begged him not to lose hope in his people just yet. Witnessing God's mercy, Nūḥ decided that he would continue to preach for another 300 years if God allowed him to live that long. With great passion and patience, Nūḥ continued with his mission, calling his people night and day, in public and in private. Since Nūḥ lived a really long time, he was now preaching to the children of those people that had passed away. But their response was no better than their parents of the last generation. They were as stubborn and as arrogant as their parents had been. And so, Nūḥ considered to call down God's punishment upon them. Once again, a massive army of angels, this time from the second level of the sky, came to him to beg him to reconsider. He decided to keep going for another generation, deciding to be patient with his people for as long as God was patient with them. By this time, Nūḥ reached the 900th year of his mission, surpassing the first and second generations. It became evident that the people had sealed their own fate. Despite his efforts, Nūḥ realized that nothing he could say would have any impact on them. Nūḥ turned to God and said, "O my nurturer, my people have rejected me, so judge between them and me, and save me and the believers who are with me." As he continued praying, Gabriel came to him and informed him that God has heard his prayers and answered them. He brought with him 7 date seeds and ordered Nūḥ to tell his followers to plant them. Nūḥ explained to his followers that God had promised that their problems would be solved when the date seeds turned into trees and produced fruit. They quickly ran off to plant them. Years passed. As soon as the trees had fruit, Nūḥ's followers quickly gathered the fruit and brought it to him, hoping that God's promise would come true. Nūḥ prayed to God for them. God told them to eat the dates that they picked and plant their seeds once again, and promised that their problems would be solved when the date seeds turned into trees and produced fruit. When they heard this, many of Nūḥ's followers felt betrayed, so they stopped believing. Sadly, they decided to join Nūḥ's enemies instead. After many years, the new seeds eventually grew into trees and produced fruit. The remaining followers gathered the dates and brought them to Nūḥ. God told them, once again, to eat the dates that they picked and plant their seeds, and promised that their problems would be solved when the date seeds turned into trees and produced fruit. Many more of Nūḥ's followers left. Many more years went past, and the dates ripened for the 3rd time, and they quickly brought them to Nūḥ, hoping for salvation from God. Nūḥ prayed to God once again. God answered his prayer and ordered Prophet Nūḥ to cut down the date trees and to use the timber to make an ark in which he and the people that bought it will be saved.